AsSalamu Alykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome to another episode of Barakah Broadcast. Today, our guest is Br.Anas.
تذكر يوما كنت تعانق دمعة الفكر تناجي الله في صبر وترجو رحمة تسري فعاش القلب إخلاصا وصرت تحوم كالطير تحلق في ثقافات وتنهل من ربى الخير.
Assalamu Alykum, Br.Anas. How are you doing today?
AsSalamu Alykum. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. To start off, I would like you to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sir, sounds good, inshallah. Thanks for that. I guess, not sure we can start. Last time we spoke, we can just introduce kind of my background and journey. So your brother Anas Abou Allaban, easy way to remember that is last name means father of yogurt. So that's easy way to remember the last name. I was born in the US in Boston, specifically Cambridge, before I moved to the UAE, which is where you are also. I lived in Abu Dhabi. After that, I came back to the US to basically complete my studies. Did my undergraduate in Northeastern in Boston. And then I started working at Amazon out in the Bay Area in Sunnyvale. And that's also where I met now my co-founders. I'm Latif and Muhammad Musa. Latif was at Twitter, Muhammad was at Facebook, and I was at Amazon. Now I'm here working on Tarteel.
Alhamdulillah. How did the idea of Tarteel come to be, and how did you get involved with the whole thing?
Yeah, so Tarteel technically initially started back in it was like around 2017 or 2018 when my co-founder Muhammad Musa worked on an app called Iqra. It was basically voice search for the Quran, built on top of Google and Apple's speech-to-text APIs. Fast forward a few years, Abdul Latif, also my co-founder, was working on a hackathon called Muslim Hacks. Mm-hmm. And one of the projects that came about from there was, Tarteel proper. And that was basically starting as a data collection project to enable developing, machine learning applications for the Quran. So around that time, about a month later, I actually joined after that hackathon. And then when I came to the Bay Area, I got to know Abdul Latif better, introduced me to Muhammad, we got together, and we realized, all of our missions and our incentives are aligned. Mm-hmm. And we have like the skill set necessary to execute on this. So then we got together, and that's how we kicked off Tarteel.
So as you've been developing the app Tarteel, what are some challenges that you have faced and you constantly have been facing? And how do you try to overcome those challenges?
Yeah, there's a lot of challenges. I think most of it comes from your typical kind of like startup experience in terms of like when you want to build a business, you need to set up like, marketing strategy, operations, vision, culture, being able to, present your ideas cohesively and in a kind of unclear and coherent manner. So a lot of the stuff that comes with the baggage that comes with startup. But on top of that, there's the technical challenges that we faced in terms of how do we actually build a system that hasn't really been built before. So a lot of the technology around speech recognition is catered towards English and languages that utilize Latin text. So they don't take into consideration the diacritics and more so the phonemes, because Quran is not just tashkil. There's tajweed. Yeah. There's the qalqala, the what do you call it, the idgham, the ikhfa, all those tajweed rules. Though those aren't captured by text alone, and those need special kinds of annotations and representations. So all of that coupled together basically made the initial journey very difficult. There was a lot of upskill, trying to understand, okay, how do we build such a system? How do we scale it? How does all this stuff work? My background is all in robotics. I have a background like basically in AI and machine learning because of the background I have in robotics, but the expertise needed to build and scale, like, a speech recognition system, something completely different, task is completely different. So we had to like learn things on the fly. Aside from that, there's also, we were operating as a volunteer, based off, Tarteel was initially like a volunteer and open source operation. We realized it was very difficult to, spend a lot of time maintaining an open source project and onboarding volunteers and, following up on contributors, that we decided, instead it's better to just focus on like having 2-3 core people than it is to try and find, outsource help basically and outsource the expertise. So, yeah.
What was your motivation to keep working on this app and make it better for the users and the people that want to try to understand the Quran, try to learn more about the Quran and try to do more with it?
Yeah, honestly, it's just an internal motivation because, we're solving for a problem that we ourselves face. And that's, being able to read and recite and revise the Quran. It's like usually what I used to do, I'd like drive to class during college, and that's when like I would be playing the Quran or like dangerously holding like the Mus'haf in front of me or trying to like revise. And I do know a few of our users that still do that. So basically trying to find the time and being able to have like an assistant that is ready to listen to you anywhere, any place, anytime. I think is something that's extremely valuable, not just for the hafal and the people that want to memorize, but even just for the people that want to recite. During Ramadan, we were like, I used to see people randomly like in the masjid wherever I go, and there was at least one person that always had Tarteel open, listening to the imam and following along with him during Taraweeh. So there's a lot of problems that Muslims are facing that technology can solve that no one has decided or has decided to put the time and money and investment in to actually build it. So alhamdulillah, like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us the opportunity to actually build all of this. And another thing on that note is that alhamdulillah, like I think it's not every day that you get the opportunity to practice not only what your trade is in, but also to be able to serve your deen and the Muslim ummah. So there's a certain kind of being proud in the sense that you're able to utilize your skills to serve Muslims, but not in the sense of being proud as like boastful. Being proud as a Muslim to be able to say like, hey, I'm using my skill set to actually help other Muslims, better practice their faith.
What is your plan for Tarteel and how do you want to expand it as you go further and further?
Yeah, so alhamdulillah, right now we're focusing mainly on our core value proposition, which is correction. So we've tried early on we knew that building the speech recognition models and being able to build recitation correction is not something easy, it's something that's going to take time. So what we tried to do is we tried to shape the narrative around Tarteel as like almost a Swiss Army knife of Quran app, and basically delivering on a lot of unique features, like voice search, memorization mode, habit building with the challenges, progress tracking, so automatically tracking your progress for you. We realized, what people want is just correction. Like all this stuff is nice. It's nice to have, but really the core value proposition is correction. So it wasn't until last month that we were able to actually start working on recitation correction and to clarify recitation correction on a word or character level. We still haven't reached the stage where we can do tajweed level correction. So that's the next step, inshallah. So right now we're focusing on building, word level recitation correction, followed by tajweed level correction, and then essentially introducing, kind of like just shaping the narrative around that feature. there are, we have been exploring opportunities to partner with schools and masajid where, we deliver kind of like a service for masajid that they can kind of display what the imam is reciting like on their TVs. Or for example, for schools, almost all schools, they said, even if you have 80% correction down, like that helps decrease the load on me as a teacher to identify where the students' mistakes are. And so there's a lot of opportunities for us to explore. One personally that I want to see is building kind of like a platform where a lot of up and coming qaris with beautiful voices can start reciting to, and we automatically generate like an Instagram or like a TikTok, a video for them. So you see all these amazing qaris on on Instagram. They spend hours and hundreds of dollars, creating this content. If we can automate a lot of the work for them, I think that's a really great, opportunity.
Inshallah, you are able to achieve this amazing goal that you have. And before we end off, I was wondering if you have anything to say to the youth that want to become developers or want to develop an app and also want to serve the Muslim Ummah at the same time, because you're also part of the youth as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm becoming uncle soon. So, but alhamdulillah. I mean, I think if I were to rewind, I actually would spend more time learning the ropes at, if possible, at another startup or a tech company, just to kind of understand what it means to build, software systems at scale, how you basically run an operation, run a company. There's a lot that I, learned by, trial through fire, basically. And I think not jumping the gun and from the get-go working on Quran or open source projects or developing for the deen. I think it's actually beneficial to go out there, learn, fail in an environment where you have the capacity to fail. You have the resources where it's fine. But at the same time, I think what I also would have done is spend more time learning about the deen. I think that's while you're at work, you have some free time. I actually think it would have been better if I spent more time learning about, my religion, taking more classes, taking more Quran classes as well, spending more time there, because that's where all the barakah comes from. I mean, this is a Barakah Broadcast. So if you want barakah in your life, the only thing that will open up doors for you is the Quran and the tawfiq of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if I could go back, I actually would spend more time in, classes, in, Quran classes as well. And that's, from there, that's where all the barakah comes from. If you think you have the experience and, as a developer, you want to get involved, honestly, the best project I think out there, and the one that we're also contributing to as a team, is Quran.com. There's a huge community built around, the Quran open source, community there. And I think that's where, that's a great place to get started and learn more about the ecosystem.
Well, Jazakallahu khairan for joining us today and giving your valuable time to coming on this podcast and telling us the whole story about how Tarteel and how you joined them and are planning to expand. Jazakallahu khairan for joining us today.
Inshallah, Jazakallahu khairan, Muneeb.
AsSalamu Alykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Thank you for watching today's episode. Be sure to check out our other episodes as well as our Instagram page at Barakah Broadcast. Email us or comment down below and let us know what you think of our content. And if you have any questions, see you next time, Insha Allah.